angel spirit is one with me. Your wings span the mighty ocean. Your eyes see everything. The slightest of your motions can make the continents ring. Yet in all your might and glory, you vanished from the sky, leaving just another story, listening to man-made lies. They tell us how you fell from the sky.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And my guest today is Joe Norman. Joe formerly played with the Seattle Seahawks. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Good morning, Clay. I'm doing outstanding.
I'm glad to hear that. You're talking to me from Seattle, and I know it's beautiful up there.
Well, I'm actually talking to you from my home office in Ohio right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
We actually left the Seattle area a year after I retired in 1985. We left in 86, and back to Ohio we came and started my construction and development company, which we still own to this day, and got involved in several different business entities, and most recently KB Gold. So I'll let you take control and helm of the show here and ask whatever questions you might have regarding the program. We'll go from there.
Well, you know, I've been talking about gold on this show for a lot of years, and if people had bought gold, you know, 8 years ago, they would have made a lot of money, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely.
What's up? And the best insurance against inflation is gold. I mean, gold. You could buy so many loaves of bread with gold, and you can still buy the same amount today, even with inflation. Now, tell me about this KB. Now, this is a company that's based in Switzerland, and they have, you know, the purest gold bullion, and it even has a hologram to prove its authenticity. Tell me about this.
Well, first of all, their corporate headquarters are in Munich, Germany, and they recently added a second office in Stuttgart, Germany, that houses their IT department. And this business model came across my desk for the first time back in July. And about 3 years ago, I just made a decision, sat my wife down, and we decided that we were going to get rid of all of our stocks that we had in our retirement account and start investing in gold and silver mining stocks, because I just believed that the United States government was going to continue to rack up debt and then print money out of thin air to monetize their activities, and boy, was that ever a good move. And my thoughts at that time have come to fruition. You know, here we are, over $14 trillion in debt, and you have QE1, you have QE2, and they continue to run up debt and print money to make the payments on those debts, and it's only going to affect bullion prices one way, all commodities, not just gold and silver. And I think people will see this year is a very pivotal year, a very much of a turning point year, that the value of the dollar is going to continue to drop, and the value of all commodities is going to go up, including gold and silver. So this came across my desk in July, and what really piqued, there were several aspects of their business model that really piqued my interest. But the first was these smaller weight bullions. This company produces gold and silver bullion in smaller weights, and they're more transaction friendly because the management of this company is quite convinced that it's not a matter of if, it's when you're going to see another crisis like occurred over 2 years ago, fall of 2008, when the bottom completely fell out of the equity markets, the banking system, and had it not been for the Federal Reserve stepping in and bailing out the banks, you would have had a complete run on the banks and a collapse of the banking system. Well, I know a lot of financial experts are saying that, look, what they did is they bought some time, and I don't know if it's going to happen this month or this year, but it's just a matter of time before someone's going to pay the piper. And if there is another crisis in the economy like that, my question to people is, what are you doing to protect yourself? And if you can exchange our fiat paper currency, and whether you're listening in from the United States or Canada or even in Europe, as bad as it is here, it's even worse over there. So if you could exchange a U.S. dollar for a smaller weight bullion without paying any excess premiums or commissions, and literally cutting out the broker, cutting out the middleman, and trading your fiat paper currency that's gone down in purchasing power 40%, and exchange it for bullion that's gone up in purchasing power over the last 5 years over 300%, that to me is a no-brainer. And if there is a collapse in the markets and the financial system, that's pretty cheap insurance. And not only that, but you're going to control these bullions in smaller weights. And the idea behind that is, if there's a lot of people, I know a lot of people that buy 1 ounce or 5 ounce, 10 ounce, larger weight bullions, because that's pretty much what's available out on the market. Even a 1 ounce American Eagle or a Cougaron or a Maple Leaf, if there is a collapse or if things get really, really hairy with the economies worldwide, you're going to see gold prices, some experts say $2,500 an ounce, some $5,000, and even others are saying, more. And it's going to be very difficult to take a 1 ounce anything, whether it's a coin or a bullion. If there's a collapse and you need bread and groceries to feed your family, you can't take a 1 ounce product into a grocery store and ask them to accept that. You can't shave off a piece of it. But with KB and their model, they produce bullions as small as 1/2 gram.
Now that's embedded. Gram. That's embedded in a card, isn't it?
It's embedded in a card. It kind of looks like a credit card. It's not a credit card, but it's a plastic card that has the gold embedded in it. Now, their silver comes in bars. They only produce one product, and that's a 250 gram, which is a little over 8 ounces of silver, which is worth about $350, somewhere in that range. So their silver is limited to that weight and that product size, simply because if they took a gram of silver and embedded it into a card, it wouldn't be worth enough to make it worthwhile. So gold is what comes embedded into the card, and you're right, it does have a serial number. It has a Kinabar hologram that certifies the authenticity, and the serial number actually codes it to you. And then you have the choice of storing your bullion in their vaults in St. Gothard, Massif, Switzerland, which is the same vault the Swiss government and the Swiss Central Bank stores their bullion. And KB Gold has access to those vaults for their clients, or you can take delivery.
Now, one of my people in my chat room says, my question is, what is keeping the government from demanding the American people turn in their gold like was done during the Depression?
Well, if that happens, this model is going to be very popular because we can keep our bullion in Switzerland where it's safe. And the reason why KB Corporate chose to partner with the Swiss government and use their vault. Swiss is a neutral country. Switzerland's always been neutral. They always will be neutral. They're not in the European Union. They even have their own currency, the Swiss franc. So it's literally the safest place in the world to store any asset, especially gold and silver bullion. If the government, the United States government, if things get really bad and they try to confiscate gold and silver or all precious metals, you know, we won't lose our assets because we can keep them stored in their vaults in Switzerland at no cost. They store bullion for their clients at no cost. And, you know, those of us that want to take delivery, you can do so, but, you know, that risk does loom always that the government may you know, try to take control. But, you know, who knows what's going to happen with that.
The empowered woman on the chat room says, if my gold is in Switzerland, how can I use it for food, etc.?
Well, I mean, you can take delivery of it, and if you want to take delivery of it, you can, and you know they will be happy to ship your bullion to you, and you know, I mean, I don't know, you know, if you're going to ask a question like that, I can understand your concerns, but my thought is, you know, what's your plan? You know, I know, you know, a lot of people are hoarding food, a lot of people are you know, guns and things of that nature, but I can pretty much assume if they're going to confiscate gold, they're going to confiscate guns too.
Yes, I would think so. Now these cards, how do they work? And if you take delivery, let's say you buy an ounce of gold and you get it in these cards. The cards are worth about half a gram is worth what, about $33 or something, I think. And where do you cash those in? And where can you
well,
buy your groceries?
They are accepted at thousands of locations in Europe. And right now, the United States and Canada, we have not. We're in pre-launch mode here. We're expecting this model to actually go live and launch, where we can fund our account and actually purchase gold very, very soon. And when that happens, we will then be able to fund our accounts and start purchasing gold and silver from KB. And when that happens, then you can choose to store it there or take delivery of it. And if you get a portion of it or all of it delivered to you, then it's just a matter of making the merchants aware of it. And you know, I own a brick and mortar business, and if someone you know, called me on the phone and said, you know, we want you to build a deck for our home, and you know, we give them a price of $4,000 or whatever it may be for the deck that we're going to build, and if the customer said to me, now Joe, I could pay you in fiat U.S. currency, or I could pay you in gold, which would you prefer? Well, guess what? Well, I would prefer gold, thank you. And so that it's just a matter of doing, and that's what they're doing in Europe. That's what we're going to do here. Is just make the merchants aware that, look, we can pay you in cash or these gold bullions, and we can, you know, well, what's it worth? What's the gram worth? What's the half gram worth? You can take them right online, and the corporate website has those prices listed in real time, and the prices are very, very close to the London spot price. And the one thing that I might draw to the listeners' attention here is a lot of people make the mistake of, you know, going to Kitco or any of the gold spot price websites and looking at an ounce price for gold bullion, which let me go to Kitco right now. Today I think gold's up a little bit. Nope, actually was up, and now it's down $6.10. The spot price is $13.26.90. There's 31 grams in an ounce, and a lot of people take 36.26 and they divide it by 31 grams and expect that a gram price should be $42.77. Well, that's not the way it works. I don't care what commodity you're talking about, you're going to pay more for smaller weights or smaller volumes. I don't care if you're talking wheat or you're talking corn or soybeans, gold, silver, oil, it doesn't matter. If you're gonna talk grams, you're gonna pay more for a gram than you will for an ounce. And if you take an ounce price divided by 31, it's $42.77. Whereas the real-time spot price for a gram of gold is higher than that. If you want to compare apples to apples, when KB launched this program a couple years ago in Europe, there were no other refineries producing these smaller weights. And I think when you see a program mimicked or copied by another major player like UBS, the United Bank of Switzerland, now does 1 gram Kinnabar grade bullions. And they started doing that after observing the phenomenal success and popularity of KB's smaller weight bullions. It's the greatest form of flattery when you see that. So we're going to see more of that, but you know, the first to market is usually the company that always dominates the market, and that being the case with McDonald's or being the case with any major company that was first to market like Coke as opposed to Pepsi. You know, KB is always going to be the standard bearer for these smaller weight bullions.
Now, this has been operating in Europe with the euro. KB is actually a conglomeration of companies. I call it the KB Group. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking this is a gold mining company. They are not. A lot of people think, well, this is a refining company. They are not. They are a financial institution, and they've been doing business for almost 17 years in Europe, and they made their money doing pension plans and financial dealings and arbitrage and derivatives tradings, and they've done extremely well, made an awful lot of money. And they made a decision several years ago that, look, you know, it would be wise for us to diversify and get in the gold industry. So a gold mine became available in Istanbul, Turkey, and they acquired it. And a short time after that, a refinery became available, and they purchased that as well. And so suddenly they were a financial institution that owned and controlled a couple very timely and impressive assets. So at that point, they lacked one ingredient, and that was a distribution model, and they decided to spin off a division of the KB Group called KB Edelmetall. That's a German word that means precious metals, and they did that in May of 2008 and started producing these smaller weight bullions, and they started out very slowly, very methodically, just in Germany. And then they expanded operations into Switzerland and then Austria, and brings us up to this point where they're doing business in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Holland, and Slovenia, as well as in Poland, Italy, Croatia, Hungary, Romania, Ukraine, and Czechoslovakia. Now, we're expecting literally any day now them to have another wave of launched countries, which include basically the remainder of the European countries, all the Scandinavian countries, UK and Ireland, followed by launching the United States, Canada, Mexico, Central, and South America. All right,
so that's kind of the timeline.
Excuse me. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying that's kind of the timeline, their target of what they're hoping to get done here in the next month or so.
All right. Is it okay to take a call? All right. Would you take a call here?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a caller on from 919. Hello. Who we're talking to? Hello.
Greeting from Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you, Clay, and welcome to the show, Joe.
Dr. A-Rod, how are you?
Good and favored. How about you?
Doing well, sir. Enjoying the conversation with Joe. Doc, you're responsible for letting me know about this and putting me in touch with Joe. Would you like to add anything to what Joe's been saying? I know you've been listening.
It's a great honor to have Joe on your show, Clay. He's quite a spokesperson for the company, and I was listening to his presentation yesterday with 12 o'clock, and I was waiting patiently to hear the gospel, the good news, so to speak, from him about the launching and all that. So we are really waiting patiently for that to happen any time.
All right, what's the story on that, Joe?
Well, we have been very patiently waiting. The thing that we're waiting for is they have had to design a brand new website software to have the electronic infrastructure to handle this worldwide launch. They totally acknowledge and recognize the volume that is going to occur once they open the gates. Just here in North America alone, we have probably close to 20,000 people that have already enrolled, set up their accounts, and are waiting to fund their account and buy gold. And 20,000 people, and if everyone just funds their account with $100, that's $2 million right there. And that's we have people in our organizations that are looking to deposit large amounts of money. I'm talking about, we've got a lady out in California that's going to put $1 million US in when this launches. And her financial planner has advised her that, look, owning $1 million of these smaller weight bullions totally makes sense for you. It's very inexpensive insurance in case things get really difficult here in the United States. And I have found that the people like yourselves that keep their fingers on the pulse of this economy and what's really going on, and are really looking at this realistically as a way to protect, to diversify and hedge, if you will, to have a portion of your assets in these smaller weight bullions. It just totally makes sense. So we've got people, going to deposit large amounts of money, and just with this compensation plan, for her, she's probably just going to be a one-time depositor, but they pay up to 5.5% on one-time deposit. So that one deposit is going to spin off $55,000 of referral commissions just for that one client. So those are all exciting aspects of this plan, and so if you get a portion of that, whether you get all $55,000 of it or not depends on where you are in the pin levels. But even if you get 20,000 of it, you can exchange that commission for gold and silver bullion. So in my view, that's free gold and silver, just for referring someone that sets up an account and funds it.
Now, on my website, I've got my KB number, which is 88328. I've got my phone number, and I've got an enrollment form. If you click on the enrollment form, it'll take you to just a sheet. You fill that out, send it back to me, to my email address, clay@freeamerican.com, and it doesn't cost you anything, right?
Oh, that's right. One of the things that really stuck out to me and became very evident was their financial strength. There are no enrollment fees, there's no website fees, there's no annual renewal fees, and there's not even any purchase requirements. You can fully participate in this compensation plan without putting a penny in this. And that's how confident they are that, there are people out there with this economy that are very talented people that just have been in the wrong industry, whether it be the banking industry, the real estate industry, the auto industry. They're all very depressed industries, and they've lost a lot of jobs, a lot of very good quality people. And some of those people have lost their homes, and they just can't land on their feet. And for those people that don't have any money, but they may know some people who do, KB is a perfect opportunity for them to engage, set up their accounts, start referring people, and when those people that they refer fund their account, they're going to fully participate in the compensation package. They can earn up to $900 U.S. currency for each referral as a customer acquisition bonus, and up to 5.5% residual income on deposits.
All right, we've got
in their organization.
Dr. Awad, I'm going to let you go here because I've got some other callers. Have you been to my website? Do I have everything set up properly?
Well, yes, and I also want to mention here to the callers, if there are people with us today that already have an account and you want to refer people, you need to make sure you contact your guests that you might have invited so they can get the proper enrollment information, because we obviously want people to know that this is Clay's show and he's giving out his information. But when you enroll someone using your name, your ID number, and your email address, that means you're keeping the sponsorship for that person, and they're going to start another line or another leg for you. And this compensation plan pays you according to deposit volumes. And once the customer acquisition bonus is paid out and exhausted, then this compensation plan doesn't even recognize sponsorship from that point forward. The only thing it recognizes is dollars on deposit from each of your legs or your book of businesses that you build in each particular line. So to maximize the profits that are there for you and the financial rewards, it makes sense to build depth and build your volume counts, because dollars on deposit turn into points, and points are what we get paid on. So it's important to take that into consideration. And if you're going to be enrolling people and there's some doubt, the best thing I could advise you to do is to consult with your upline leader, and they can discuss the possibilities of what's the best thing for you to do.
All right, now we've got a caller on from the 240 area code. Who do we have on here, sir? Hello? Speak up, 240. You're on the air here. Okay. The people are off the air there. And let me see on this one. Okay, you've got a block number. I normally don't take calls from block numbers. Do you have a question for Joe? Evidently not. Okay. Joe, what kind? Now, when does this all take effect? We're just doing the groundwork right now. We're setting up the base for this, right?
Well, the way I like to view this in my mind's eye is we're building our infrastructure of leaders right now. We're getting them trained. We're getting them educated. And I look at my business models. There's a lot of analogies that carry forward from my sports career, and everyone that is in KB that wants to build a book of business, build an income, and build their portfolio of gold and silver is basically the general manager of your own team, and you can choose your players. And my thought is, this is the time. You don't want to wait till the game starts to start interviewing and teaching your players. Now's the time to take them into training camp. Teach them the plays. Teach them the vocabulary. Teach them the compensation plan. Teach them all the different aspects of this business model. Because I can tell you this, I've been involved in this really. I went basically all in with this thing back in September. And since that time, I have observed that the more financially intelligent someone is, the more likely they are to not only enroll and set up an account, but engage. Because this thing is so unique. There's nothing like it out there, and how refreshing is it to be able to tell your prospect or your client or a business owner that there are no enrollment fees. There are no website fees. This company does not have to nickel and dime you with all these fees to fund their compensation plan and to fund their website infrastructure. All they want you to do is set up an account and buy as much gold and silver